Hell yeah. What is it, 21? Episode 21?
Episode 21.
Lovely.
Legal drinking age in America. I want to start this episode by doing a rendition of Eminem's Venom. Are you ready?
Okay. I'd love to hear it.
Venom, gonna get venom, venom, no venom, 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 venom. That's my rendition of Venom,
Wow.
the hit song Eminem made for the hit movie Venom.
Really?
Yeah, have you never heard that song?
I have, but I
It
didn't
plays at the
realise
end of
that
the
it
first
was-
movie.
Well, yeah, obviously, why didn't they put it at the start? If they, if Eminem made the song for the movie, you'd put it at the start, right? Not the end.
Yeah. Well, it was a big hit. Everyone loves that song, and everyone loves Venom. So, welcome everyone to a podcast now, episode 21. We are of legal drinking age in the United States now. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Lachlan Rodwell, and I'm joined, as always, by Lucas Boreham.
Hi, guys.
And we should start this episode with an apology for missing our first week. We had our first week off. We had a bye last week. Two reasons. I'm in the middle of exams, but more importantly, Lucas got COVID.
Yeah, it was great fun. I really enjoyed it. It was a good experience. My immune system was battling it out. I was playing lots of video games and not trying
Bit
to
of a
get my
holiday,
roommate
wasn't
sick.
it? It was a bit of a holiday.
It honestly was. Every day just goes so fast now. It's insane. It's like Need for Speed. It's just like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Done. Sick. But yeah.
So this week, two things. We're going to talk about two Marvel movies that are very different. Firstly, Venom, Let There Be Carnage finally came out in Australia. It's already been out for months in the United States, but it finally came out in Australia. So we're going to talk about that. And also, Lucas finally got a chance to see Shang-Chi because that came out on Disney+.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about those two movies. But first, the news. And this week, Ridley Scott has blamed our generation for something.
Not again.
So, famous director Ridley Scott, he's well known. I think his only good movie is the first Alien. Like, I don't know any other good Ridley Scott movie, but anyway.
I don't think he's done anything else.
No,
honestly.
just a lot of shit. He did that movie about Moses with Christian Bale. That was a big one. But anyway, he's had two movies released this year within like a span of a couple of months. First one being The Last Duel with Ben Affleck and I think Matt Damon's also in it. Whoever else, I don't care. The next one is The House of Gucci, starring Lady Gaga and Jared Leto. And anyway, he's now doing press for his new movie, House of Gucci, and he's talking about why his last movie with Ben Affleck was a flop. And he says, what we've got today are the audiences who were brought up on these fucking cell phones. The millennial.
Yeah.
They do not ever want to be taught anything unless you're told it on a cell phone. So that's the reason why his last movie flopped. Now,
Wait. So he's calling it a cell phone?
yeah, this
Isn't
guy's
it
like
a
70.
smartphone?
This guy's like
Yeah.
70 years old. Okay.
Oh, fuck. Poor soul.
So he's blaming the reason why his movie performed badly on us. Now, quick question: have you seen The Last Duel?
No, have not. Haven't even
neither have I.
heard of it.
Neither have I. So, and I can tell you what, it's not because I was playing on my fucking phone, right?
Yeah. Playing too much Angry Birds.
Yeah. Now, do you think Ridley Scott, acclaimed director Ridley Scott, has any point here?
No, not at all. I mean, I feel like smartphones have bettered us as a generation, You get more education through these devices, You can keep up with the news. We're better,
Better
educated
connected.
on the virus. Yes, exactly. Better connected. So, we should be, this movie should have been advertised to us if we have these, phones in our hands all these times. But
I do also think this movie its target audience wasn't young people. It's a movie about in medieval times, a woman gets raped and is then like fighting against the patriarchal system.
I see.
It's not really a topic meant for young people, I don't think. And it's just, I mean, look, is Ridley Scott saying that because of like TikTok and shit, teens are more caught up with swiping up on their phones than watching an actual movie? I mean,
Probably.
realistically, I think these directors have to realize that we have so much content to consume now that the only things that get through are the big events. And if other movies are now pushed to streaming as a result, that doesn't make them any worse. It just means that they can find their niche audience as opposed to being a box office failure. They're now a streaming success.
That is very true. Because, I mean, we've seen movies like June, which is huge. Like, I feel like people just knew that because of the book. Like, the book was huge. So, the movie's going to be big. And, No Way Home, of course, because they're just the plethora of characters and plot that, is going to be explored. Like, heaps of people are getting excited about that.
Yeah.
But they also have huge ad campaigns. They're everywhere. They're on YouTube, on TikTok, everything. I feel like Ridley just needed to...
The only time I have heard of House of Gucci, because I think that's had a better marketing campaign. I've heard of that way more. Like, I know Lady Gaga and Adam Driver and Jared Leto are all in that movie. But The Last Duel, I only heard about it on, like, when I walked downstairs one morning to get breakfast and I saw Sunrise was talking about it. And I was like, what the fuck is this movie? And it's a Ridley Scott movie, like one of the biggest directors ever has a new movie coming out and no one has heard of it. So you can't just blame our generation looking at smartphones for the box office failure. Also, we're in a pandemic. A lot of movies are underperforming. Okay? So
if you didn't notice, you idiot. But
Ridley Scott, if he had COVID, he would die. He's that old. So
it's unfortunate. But natural selection.
Yeah. Now, you did bring up No Way Home, and we did miss it last week. We were supposed to talk about the trailer, but we didn't have the episode. Just quick thoughts. What do you think of the trailer? Are you excited for this movie? Can you not wait?
I saw 14 seconds. 14 seconds of this trailer.
And you turned it off?
I turned it off because, again, you know me, I'm against trailers. Yeah. I don't want it to spoil the movie. So I didn't really get to see much. But I looked at the comments, though, and it got me pretty excited.
It's going to be pretty big. It's going to be pretty big.
It's going to be huge.
I'll just note one thing. So people were looking at the trailer for any hint of Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. And I think a lot of them are fucking retarded. But one instance of something happening in the trailer does actually hint at them being in it. And it's in the shot, you haven't seen the trailer. There's a shot of Spider-Man versing 3 villains at once. Tom Holland Spider-Man versing 3 villains at once.
Yeah.
And in the Brazilian version of the trailer, that scene is like 1 second longer. And you see one of the villains be hit by an invisible man. So they've clearly cut out, like they've, removed other people from the shot to cover the fact that they're in the movie. Yeah. So there is a little hint, if you've watched the Brazilian version of the trailer, that was by far an accident, that there may be other spider people in the movie. But I think at this stage, we can pretty safely assume they're going to be in this movie.
Of course. Like, that's the whole... Like, I feel like even though I haven't watched the trailers, I kind of know that something goes on with the multiverse because I've seen, the snippets of Doctor Strange, doing something a bit strange.
Doing his Doctor Strange shit.
Doing his strange shit. But yeah, that seems to, cause a big kerfuffle. Yeah. And I feel like it's obviously going to happen. Like, I feel like people are like, we got to find it. We got to just be patient. Just wait and it'll come.
Yeah. Okay. It'll come. The movie's like almost 2 weeks away. Tickets went on sale today. I actually, I got tickets because I checked to see if it was selling out and it was. And I was like, okay, I'll actually get tickets. So I've already got my tickets. So I'm seeing it day one. I don't want any spoilers. I'm seeing it day one. I've muted every variation of Spider-Man as a word. I've muted it on all social media. I don't want to see any spoilers for this movie. I want to enjoy it.
Wow, I'm excited.
Big moves.
Excited. It's going to be huge.
It's going to be massive. Yeah. Now, what movie do you want to talk about first? Venom or Shang-Chi?
I reckon we'll start bad and get to the good. So
Venom it is.
Yeah.
Venom, let there be carnage.
Oh, this movie, I tell you,
look, I'm going to be honest. I fucking loved it. I loved it so much. I really loved it.
Was that because it was bad? Like, you know, there are just some movies that it was... Yeah, look, I can see that. Fair enough. Just seeing, like, the goofy characters in it, it just...
It's so goofy.
Yeah, it's so goofy. It's literally like Saints Row in a movie. You know, you played that game? Like, just you know, zany characters just all over the shop. Everyone knows about, Venom. Everyone's like, oh, yeah. You know, he exists.
Yeah, that giant black guy.
Coexists. Yeah. I loved the scenes with you know, Tom Hardy's character. Was it Eddie?
Eddie.
It was?
Yeah, Eddie Brock.
Yeah. Heard that name enough in that movie. My goodness. But yeah, Eddie and Venom kind of just coexisting in this small apartment. Like they got the tire, he eats chickens and chocolate. Like very, very strange choice, but it was just honestly hilarious.
They're going for like a rom-com type dynamic. I mean, there's no romantic love between Venom and Eddie.
It's just good friendship.
It's that, it's like a bromance kind of vibe. And they do the thing that, like, you know, 22 Jump Street also did it. Like every kind of movie that has like this buddy dynamic where it's like, spoiler alert, they like, you know, break away from each other and they hate each other and then they come back and reunite with each other. It's, you know, it's generic. Its story is so generic, and also Eddie as a character does not grow or develop in any way. The story is just a series of events that happen. It's not really anything worthwhile. Yeah. What I find so interesting about this movie is that it's like the 90s Batman movies. It's like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, where they don't care about the source material. They don't care about doing anything worthwhile with the character. They're just doing this like schlocky, like B-movie type aesthetic where it's not like this. It doesn't feel like a superhero movie of this time period.
It does.
It's so wacky and like flamboyant and
it just
crazy.
Like was segmented in such a way as well that, well, yes, it was very cliche, but yeah, you're right. It was kind of just, this felt like a side mission of a movie, you know? Because, nothing really huge happened to any of these characters. Like, it was just kind of like, a lot of fighting, a lot of...
Not even a lot of fighting. I mean, Can we just say, this movie has one single fight scene at the end of the movie between Venom and Carnage.
Yeah.
Everything else, Venom itself, like Venom the character, has like a one fight at the start of the movie with some random thug. That's it. And then Carnage has the prison breakout, which is good.
Yeah. That is good.
But there's barely any action in this movie at all. You know?
It is strange for, a superhero movie. It's probably because the premise, the whole Venom character, has already been explored. Yeah. A serial killer has bitten your arm, and, you know, he's
That's
got
not
his
blood.
own venom.
Eddie, I've tasted blood because I'm a fucking serial killer.
I've tasted blood before.
That's not blood.
That was a good scene, though, how it went into this kind of animation style, and it told the story of this serial killer who, you know, killed his grandmother and then his mother.
Exactly.
And then got beaten by his dad and was like, why is my dad beating me?
The key to storytelling is tell, don't show. I think that's the very famous line, is tell, don't show. And this movie loves telling. Oh, yeah. And it's like, why is daddy issues always the thing? You know, it's always daddy issues.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of liked where it was going with, he just kills his family, like he just kills his parents, and that's him. He's just a serial killer. But then it just felt cheap. It felt like a cheap villain, and that's why I'm glad we watched these two movies, because one has a good villain, and one has just the worst, like just a villain, like he's just bad because he is, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that.
You know what I love about Carnage is he's such an intelligent villain, because who would think to put the evidence of where they killed people, where they hid the bodies in their cell. You know, it's ingenious.
Yeah,
no
that
one
is
would ever
true.
think to look in a cell
Yeah.
with literally the exact location where he hid the bodies. No
Well, it
one would
took-
ever think to look there.
All it took was a Google image search,
Search.
fucking search, and yeah, puts it up
The
on your
exact
laptop.
image
Yeah.
image that he drew on the wall.
Exactly.
Google image search.
Like he's like, I'm a genius. I know, like no one's gonna find this.
A-class villain, honestly.
Exactly. But I don't remember Eddie being like he's a writer, right?
He's a journalist, but he's
a
the
journalist.
shittest journalist in the world. So
Yeah.
in the first movie, he was famous for his Eddie Brock report, which was like this, I guess, TV show kind of thing where he was like, I'm Eddie Brock and he's the news. And like he'd uncover shit or whatever. But yeah, he's not a good journalist. He has no characteristics of a journalist. He doesn't investigate anything. Venom literally tells him, dipshit, here's the bodies. Like
That was kind of hilarious. I was like, these you should at least show these people coexisting. You know what I mean? It should show like Eddie's doing one thing, Venom's doing the other. But in this case, Venom's doing everything. He's literally and he's even pissed off about it. That's why he leaves because he's like, you're
lift
useless.
your weight around here for fuck's sake.
Exactly.
And then the second Venom leaves Eddie, Eddie's like useless, and he's like, I don't know what to do. And then he gets captured by the police, and he's like, dude, my ex-wife, I need you to find fucking Venom.
Exactly.
And can I just say, not the ex-wife, the ex-fiance.
Yes.
That whole story is identical to the first movie. Nothing changes. It's you know, it's the ex-fiance. She's got a new partner, and the only development is now that the partner, proposed to her. But it's still the exact same dynamic. There is nothing different.
Yeah.
It's
I
literally
thought that was going to develop. You know, I thought there was going to be something.
You'd assume so in a sequel.
Yeah, but nothing happened. And I mean, well, like, look, I'm going to say that they've done it well for how, I mean, the end credits scene kind of complements it because he just, you know, he has no connection. You know, he has no relationships.
Since you've brought up the end credit scene, let's talk about it. I've never seen an end credit scene that completely makes the movie you just saw redundant. And like everything, the first and second Venom movie are now irrelevant. It doesn't fucking matter because they literally just teleport Eddie Brock and Venom to the MCU. And it's like, now let's just forget about everything you just watched.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant.
It's just, I mean, well, it kind of, you know, those movies do explain the characters, but yeah, that entire universe is gone, which I feel like is good because nothing happened in that universe. It was a terrible universe. Like, we got nothing from it.
It's just so funny that the end credit scene completely makes everything you just saw redundant. Like, imagine sitting, watching this movie and then seeing that end credit scene and being like, oh, I didn't need to watch that movie at all. I just needed to see that end credit scene and then whenever Venom turns up next.
That's true. That is true. And I feel like, that's what I felt watching it. I was like, this is a waste of time. This is a waste of time and money on talented actors. Now, you know what I mean? I
will say, I agree. But I would watch this movie over the first one any day of the week.
No.
You're joking. This movie is nearly identical to the first one. So, okay, let me just go on a quick rant about the first one. Right. I think all I need to say is at the start of the movie, of the first one, Riz Ahmed, who plays the bad guy in that one, he gets asked, he's in like his lab or whatever, and there's a bunch of kids on an excursion, and one of the kids asks a question. And then everyone makes fun of that kid for asking a question, being like, how dumb are you? Why'd you ask this fucking dumb question? And then Riz Ahmed goes, no, questions are good. You should question things. And he goes on a whole rant about asking questions. But he never answers the fucking question. So that is the first Venom in a nutshell, where it's just, look, it's a poorly made movie and
broken.
Everything good about that movie is accidental, right? Tom Hardy on the day accidentally found the tone of the movie and he found this dynamic with Venom and was improvising most of his lines and it worked. But the movie itself is bad. Now,
Yeah.
given what the first movie is, this movie now knows what it's trying to do. So everything that people praised the first Venom for, I think was an accident, and this movie is doing it intentionally. So that's why I think this movie's better, and also, it's only an hour and a half.
That is true.
That's what saves the movie, is it's so short.
That is very true. It is so short. But, like, when it comes down to it, what's the point? What was the point of this second film, you know?
I agree. Like, the first Venom is an origin movie, which means there is very clearly some development. It has to be by being an origin movie. Yeah, you're taking a character from A to B. Sequels typically, they either take away something from the character and try to rebuild them, or they do, in certain cases, like, say, The Dark Knight, they are able to keep developing the character. Whereas this movie is much more like, again, it's like the old Batman movies where there was no real continuity. It just is another movie, right? Similar to like the old school James Bond movies, right? It's
100%.
It's just another story with Venom. There is no development of the character whatsoever. In fact, you don't even need to watch the first movie at all for this movie to make sense.
That is true. That is true. And from that standpoint, yeah, you're right. This movie does work quite well because, we know what these characters do. We know who they are. Let's just see them, coexist some more. But anything else really with that movie?
What did you think of when Venom was so few things. In the first movie they outlined that the symbiotes need like a perfect match to exist, right? Otherwise they kill the host or whatever. Yeah. And my understanding was that to be able to turn into the full Venom form, you needed that perfect match. Whereas in this movie, he just gets with anyone and turns into the full Venom form. I don't think that works with the logic of the first movie. Yeah. And also, does it mean every time he's jumping from these bodies that he's just going on a mass killing spree and all these people end up dying? Yeah. Because they're not compatible?
Like, it was kind of freaky how he just kind of jumped away and latched onto someone and then would, like, turn into them. I kind of like that. I like that with, he was in this club and he was just hanging out. And it was like,
the club scene.
Sick fucking costume, that didn't really make any sense. Like, how can you be that tall?
Like, dude, that's a fucking sick cosplay, man. How did you come up with that? Like, that is so sick.
Those teeth and that five foot tongue that looks real.
How did you make that? That is insane.
Wow. Clap right there.
And that's why, that's why it's silly. It's such a silly movie. But you got to admit, like, it has fun with that.
It does.
And there's do you know the artist Lil Sims? A British rapper, female rapper. No.
So was she in it?
Yeah, So she has a famous song called Venom, which was unrelated to the first movie. It's like not to do with Venom at all. But because it's got Venom in the title, they brought her into that scene to sing her song Venom, and then Venom comes over and is like, "Oh, it's a song about me." And then he gives Venom's really woke. He gives this whole rant about like how you shouldn't discriminate against aliens. Like he's really woke. And everyone's loving it. They're like, "Go, Venom, go." Eddie kept me in a closet. Well, I'm out of the closet now. Or whatever. And also Venom there's a point where like a girl like comes onto Venom and Venom goes, "Not my type." So I think Venom is officially gay.
Wow.
I think he's officially gay.
He said not my type.
It could be human.
He's an alien.
He is an alien. It could be human.
It could be not human. It could be like another symbiote.
Symbiote, yeah.
Or like it could be a cookie. Could be a chicken.
Might be into cookie. Well, we see he does love his chickens.
He loves his chickens. And that chicken relationship really was fleshed out in this.
Yes,
That was great.
Spent a lot of time developing those chickens, and the chickens have a good relationship.
Eddie and the chickens get a bit of screen time as well.
Yeah, chickens have a lot of screen time in this movie.
Yeah,
that's how you know it's a good movie. Is if you need to give a lot of screen time to chickens.
Yeah, that's true.
I also just want to say, so the Carnage, right? What do you think of what's his name? What's the guy's name? The actor.
Yeah, I know.
The guy from like Zombieland and shit.
Woody
Harrelson.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Okay, look, his acting ability, outstanding. this character, dog shit.
Yeah.
I hated him. But his haircut was hilarious, hilariously bad.
Well, remember the end credit scene of the first movie? He had like a sideshow Bob kind of wig, like this
Yeah.
giant red afro.
Exactly.
And
Like,
now-
what happened to that?
Yeah.
Now he's like this fucking. He's got his hair
Yeah,
down like
it's like
that.
a fringe.
Oh, it looks hilarious, but every time it was on, I was just cringing. But then again, it makes you look at him and be like, that's a Grand Theft Auto online character. That is a
He's
just
like
online
red
wacko
Hawaiian
character.
shirt type thing as well.
And he's in the Mustang. the
Yeah,
red
he stole a Mustang.
Yeah, that was beautiful. It was kind of.
I don't know if you realized, but Carnage is red, so he wears red. He drives red. He's got red hair.
Yeah,
That's
and he
good movie making.
drinks blood because he
Yeah,
knows what it tastes like.
He knows what it tastes like because it's red. Only because it's red.
Yeah.
And then you also have Shriek, which I found to be such a funny dynamic, where
my
the
God,
love
it's
interest, her one power is like screeching, and that's the one like kryptonite of these symbiotes.
That
so
was
every
the
time,
only good thing.
yeah, every
honestly.
time Carnage is like, "Shut up! Like, what do you stop? It's my one weakness," and she keeps screaming.
I mean, it works. That
Yeah.
was probably the only good writing that they did. It's like, let's have a character that is,
There's a bit of tension there because it's like,
yeah, there's a bit of
her
tension.
superpowers, their weakness, but can't. Cletus Cassidy or whatever the fuck his name is,
Yeah.
loves her, and there's this dynamic. And I love at the end of the movie, Eddie and Venom are like, "Look, they're not as much of a match as we are." Oh, like
that's
they're not
true.
as symbiotic. Great. Oh, it's just so good.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
But yeah, that was probably the only good part I liked when, she'd fucking shriek and Carnage would literally just smack her and she would just faint. And I'm like, that's a normal person. That is literally, she can just shriek. That's it. She has normal bones and shit. She's no Iron Man. She's no Hulk.
Yeah.
She's got broken jaw, surely. That was probably the only funny part of this entire film.
Yeah.
Was just seeing her get smacked. Just because she wanted to help.
We do not condone hitting women.
No, we don't. But they made this. They made this movie. They're like, she's going to get hit a lot because
Let's just see
her
Carnage
power-
just
Yeah.
bang.
Yeah, they're having their marriage and they're already having terrible relationship.
I
goals.
did. You know what? I actually have a question for you. Is this movie funny? Because there's this scene at the end where Carnage is like, "Hello, father," and then the priest is like, "Oh no," and he's like, "No, not you, father. You, father." And
Yeah, I remember that.
and shit like that. Like the movie tries to be, and it's not like the typical Marvel movies. Their comedy is very much
is
like
true.
they have like a serious moment and then they underpin it with comedy. This like throughout the movie, it's ridiculous, and they just they make these really weird jokes. Like one of them again at the end, Venom's like, "Oh shit, that's a red one," and it doesn't mean anything.
And then and he leaves. He just goes away, and then he's like, "Come back."
yeah. So is this movie funny? Is it funny? Are you laughing at it or are you laughing with it?
When I was watching it, I wasn't laughing. I was more bored. I honestly was just more bored. I was like, what's going on? I want to be interested in these characters. Eddie's character is just so boring. He is so boring. He's so depressing the entire film.
He's Eddie Brock. He's a journalist.
Hey,
Eddie Brock.
I write things on a computer.
Yeah.
Sick. I don't give a shit. Because he was wearing grey the entire film. He wears black. He's just a depressing, emotional wreck.
He is an emotional wreck. He loves his fiance and is like after
it
dinner with
sucks.
his fiance, he's
Yeah.
like, "I'm gonna kill myself on the motorbike, and even then you're gonna stop me, Venom." And then Venom stops him, and he's an emotional wreck.
It was sad. I was like,
Yeah.
man, he was complaining about the one superpower he has, that keeps him literally immortal.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I feel like shit. I just want to die. That was really sad. I was like, man, it sucks that, things can't go.
It's interesting. They almost on the verge of doing something good every now and then. And then it just goes silly and they forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, yeah, what if he fucking like kills himself and then Venom has to find someone new? Yeah.
And then Venom is like, oh, I understand we're hurting right now. And then they just drive off.
That's true, yeah.
What did you think of Mrs. Chen? The return of Mrs. Chen. We got Chenham.
My goodness gracious me. When I mean, the Venom, like, he's in control of this drunken wreck that just throws up everywhere.
Yeah.
And then Mrs. Chen comes over. Lovely character, cares for Venom, knows what he wants, is a lot better character and, symbiotic relationship than fucking Eddie,
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, she owns a shop. Eddie doesn't, right? She knows how to get chocolate for Venom.
That's the thing I don't understand is there's something that's common between brains and chocolate. Like, it's like there's this one thing in brains that is also in chocolate. So Venom can only eat brains and chocolate.
I think he just made that up. I think he tasted chocolate and he was like, this shit good.
This shit bud.
This is like brains. Brains are yummy to me. Chocolate's yummy.
I do love how Venom's whole character throughout the whole movie is he just wants to eat a guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
He's
that's
just
it.
hungry.
And he ends the movie by eating a guy. So that's his journey. It's more than Eddie has.
Yeah, that's true.
I do like at the end of the movie, like Cletus Cassidy is on the floor and his bones are all mangled and broken and he's saying some shit and then Venom just goes, fuck this guy, and just eats him. Like
yeah. Oh, Christ.
This movie is ridiculous and I kind of like it for it.
Fair enough.
And again, I mean, Lucas, you don't agree. I'd watch this movie okay. Venom, Let There Be Carnage is the perfect when you're hungover, perfect movie for that. Or Fair enough. Even if you're just drunk or high or whatever, you need something easy to watch.
That's true.
Venom, Let There Be Carnage is perfect for that. And I think that's my review.
All right. That's a good review. Well, I'm going to say what you said, that, all the things that Venom accidentally does, Venom, Let There Be Carnage does it on purpose. And people like that. I understand why they liked it. I'm just going to leave it at that. Like, I would not watch this. I would not watch both of these movies. They're just not good. They're just not good for me.
But
if
I will say they are different to every other superhero movie we're getting right now.
That is true.
So if you want something different, it kind of feels like it fills a little bit of a hole that's left by other superhero movies. Yeah. It's just dumb. And
it's dumb.
Other superhero movies take themselves so seriously, especially now. Mm-hmm. This movie doesn't at all. It knows Venom's fucking stupid.
We need more dumb superhero movies.
We do.
We need more superheroes that are like just straight up like just hilarious. Or just race. Like, imagine like a Sunny in Philadelphia superhero cast. That would be excellent. Yeah. Like, just superheroes that like work.
Which just in a way, the Suicide Squad does do that, but it does take itself seriously and has like an emotional story attached to it. What if you just had this dumb, like similarly like to Venom, Let There Be Carnage, an hour-and-a-half movie, and it's just dumb fun, but it knows it's ridiculous and just goes for it. Like, we haven't seen that.
That'd be good. Yeah. All right.
So, shall we move on to the next superhero movie, next Marvel movie? Shang-Chi. Now.
Is it Shang?
Shang, yeah.
Shang.
I know.
Oh, yeah, because he does.
He pronounces it in the movie. So I'll try my best. It's Shang-Chi, the first Chinese superhero in the MCU. Mm-hmm. And I'll say, I think out of the Marvel movies released this year so far, it's probably the best.
I'd like to agree.
Yeah.
I think that...
It is quite good.
Having this like Chinese spin on this movie was excellent.
Oh,
honestly,
the opening of the movie is not the Marvel movie at all.
No,
like it is fully Chinese influenced. Like they're all speaking, I assume Mandarin. I'm gonna just assume. I don't know. from the start of the movie, and it takes place, and they're doing, the wire fights where they're all in wires and they like float in the air and stuff.
Oh,
so it's
yeah.
all very Chinese influence, and
was excellent.
those parts of the movie I really liked. It's when it became just generic origin story
CG.
Marvel movie. I kind of lost a bit of interest because it's like I've seen this movie a million times. It's just that the Chinese influences, when those really shone through, Shang-Chi. That's when the movie was at its peak. And again, we'll just go into spoilers straight away. This movie's been out for ages.
Yeah, watch it.
The Shang-Chi's superpower is being just the fucking best at martial arts, right? But we only really see 2 fights of him doing that. And the bus fight at the start of the movie is by far the best fight scene in the MCU.
Amazing.
It is so
good.
fucking
So
good.
good.
And it set the bar of what I expected the other fight scenes to be like.
Yeah.
But then you get the fight scene on the side of the tower that's all right.
Terrible.
It's not, it's not as good as the bus fight. And then the end of the movie, they ditched the whole, martial arts, and it's now just the 10 rings, and there's a giant fucking dragon, and there's bow and arrows, and it's like Lord of the Rings, but Chinese at the end of the movie. And it's just like, what you were doing with the martial arts was really good and unique to this movie, and you've just ended with this giant spectacle that we've kind of seen before. And they do the spectacle well. It's just
They do it well.
It's so jarring to go from 0 to 100 in terms of this spectacle.
That is true. I mean, that is true, but like, at least it was a good way of explaining, like, the villain, I guess, or the father, who was being, cast
The Mandarin.
upon. Yes, he is the Mandarin, which was wonderful. Honestly, I love that explanation. That was much needed.
Bit of backstory. So when they were making Iron Man 3, right? So the Mandarin is like Iron Man's big bad. It's like the equivalent of the Joker for Iron Man. Like the Mandarin is that character. But in the comics, it's like this vaguely Asian stereotype. So Marvel didn't really want to do it because they thought it'd be racist. So they made a joke out of the Mandarin instead, and it was an actor. And then Guy Pearce, the Australian actor who's the ultimate bad guy of Iron Man 3, is like, no, I'm the Mandarin, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so they don't treat the Mandarin seriously in that movie because they're afraid of doing an Asian stereotype. Fast forward to Shang-Chi, and in the comics, Shang-Chi's father, who's his big bad, is a character called Fu Manchu, who is an incredibly racist character. Like full-on Chinese stereotype, awful character. So they knew they couldn't do that. And then they realized, well, why don't we do the Mandarin authentically, make him Chinese, make him Shang-Chi's father, and do him justice. So then that was brilliant that they brought him in to be Shang-Chi's father, and they tie it into Iron Man 3 because it's like they explain that, Guy Pearce's character in Iron Man 3 came to the Mandarin and was like, oh, can we just use your identity? And the Mandarin was like, oh, fuck, I don't care. And then when he realized what was going on, he was like, nah, okay, this actor, he's coming with me. I'm holding him hostage. And then you see Trevor again, the fake Mandarin.
So good. I loved him, honestly, in this movie. Like,
great comic relief.
He's beautiful comic relief. Like, that's the kind of relief I needed or was seeking in Carnage. It wasn't there. It was kind of, you're just laughing at these characters instead of laughing with them about the situation. But let's just say this movie, I mean, yes, I miss this Marvel plot, the good plot, the good relationships, this father-son dynamic, and the father-daughter, dynamic was really good,
and the mother as well, like the whole family dynamic.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I wish we saw more of the mother, but she just dies, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I love that, the father actually took off the rings, for the mother, and then puts them back on because he's like, past is catching up with me, which is really, strange how that kept happening to him. People just kept attacking him, being like, this man's lived for 1,000 years and I want to kill him.
Well, I think they all want the rings or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I not gonna lie, I kind of liked how the rings weren't explained, like where they came from. It was just like
I
you found them.
That was the thing that was interesting is like in the comics, the 10 rings are actual rings you wear on your fingers.
Oh,
And they each have a specific purpose.
yeah.
But the thinking is like people have speculated that Kevin Feige, after doing the Infinity Gauntlet, didn't want another hand-based thing, that each thing did something. So then they changed it to be like these just magical rings and it's also
cool.
those are like very like Chinese influence, like having them be bracelets. And yeah, and it was interesting, like when you saw them on the Mandarin, it was all very much like he would never leave them off his body, and they would always be like for punching and shit. And if he ever launched one, it would come straight back to him. Like he was always scared of letting them go. Whereas when Shang-Chi has them, they're like floating around him, and he's like, he turns into like kind of Dragon Ball Z in a way.
Sick.
Like
it is so cool.
they contrast Shang-Chi and the Mandarin very well. And it's a great villain dynamic as well, where it's like, the best villains have like a real emotional connection to the hero. And that's what this movie does really well. Like, at the end of the day, like, Shang-Chi is trying to, like, kind of accept who his father is, and he can't, and he wants to murder him for, like, treating him the way he did. But then he learns to accept that his father was, the man he was and was just doing what he thought was best. And learning from his mother to be more, like, peaceful, let go of your anger. Like, it's just great character development throughout this movie. And it had a real emotional weight to it. And that final fight felt, the best like Star Wars, like lightsaber duels are the ones that have a lot of emotional weight behind them. And it kind of felt like that. Like there was so much weight behind, Shang-Chi was there to kill his father, and then, getting over that.
I'm sorry. But I mean, I love that though, how, his father, trained him up in like, this is what I would have wanted. Like, I like that, because that's what a father would do. They'd be like, all right, I have 1,000 years of experience on this planet. What would I want my son to have?
Yeah.
The insane fighting experience. And I mean, that does him well. He's able to combat everybody he'd ever know. Like, he'd protect himself, and, he's able to live by himself independently. So, I mean, that's good. But I feel like him coming back and just hating his father for that is very understandable, but then understanding part when he's fighting him and stuff like that was great. And I feel like not many Marvel movies really do that.
No,
they kind of just go all out, like, oh, father big bad or villain big bad, he needs to die. In this one, I was like, let's understand.
And I mean, that's a common criticism of a lot of these Marvel movies, is that the villains aren't great. Like, we have a few that really excel. Loki, Thanos, Killmonger, they're all great. But then a lot of Marvel movies end up having a really forgettable villain. So it's good that, this movie doesn't. It's a very memorable villain, and he really impacts the story in a big way, and there's a lot of weight behind it. And the Mandarin also has like a lot of screen time as well. Like,
he does.
A lot of Marvel movies kind of, they don't give a lot of screen time to the villain, because it's like you just assume they're bad and that's enough. This actually does a good job of explaining the whole backstory behind everything. And it's quite an efficient movie, because it gets a lot done in its runtime.
It does. Like, this is what was probably the big issue between the two was, Let There Be Carnage was just like, his pace was so slow. Whereas, Shang-Chi was just like, the pace was really fast. You understood the friendship between Sean, his fake name, and that girl. I can't remember her name. Katie, I think it was.
Played by Awkwafina.
Yeah, like instantly. Like, that was awesome. How
I will say, I do like Awkwafina in the role, and I do like Katie. But
I do as well.
Her story is about going from being aimless to having direction in life.
Yes.
And they do this by, at the end of the movie, she has a perfect shot from a bow and arrow into the dragon or whatever the fuck. I can't, whatever the fuck, right?
The fucking huge thing.
Yeah, the huge monster thingy the darkness that's going to consume the world or whatever the fuck. And that's kind of where the movie starts to lose me, when it's like, okay, whatever
World's
the fuck.
in peril again.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, another end of the world type scenario and whatever. But yeah, Katie has a perfect shot. Now, metaphorically, that's symbolizing her completion of her journey. She now has direction. But taking it literally, she should not be able to make that fucking shot.
No.
And it really takes me out of the movie because it's like she has no experience. She's just a natural.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't like that.
I get that they want, you know, you don't always want the woman to be the damsel in distress. But she needs to have something to do that isn't ridiculous. And I feel like they tried to do something with her and it ended up being stupid. Like, she shouldn't be able to make that shot.
Yeah, I agree.
That's
I mean, even they were...
That's my nitpick.
Yeah, oh, fair enough. I mean, when she did make that shot, I was like, really? I mean, I kind of would have liked it if she missed it. Or, like, fucking, I don't know, she just was human. Like, you know, she's the only human person there. I mean, other than, what's his name?
Trevor, of
course, who just, like, dies. Like,
pretends to die.
He pretends to die. He's like, acting. I'm an actor.
Oh, dude. His jokes throughout the movie, where his reason for becoming an actor was he thought that the apes in the Planet of the Apes movies were really good actors because he didn't realize apes could act. Fucking genius.
They rode horses as well. It was, like, amazing. It was insane. Yeah. But yeah, as soon as he was on screen, the movie just went up. It really
picks up.
It went up in just entertainment value. But yeah, and then it went down in believability because again, like, Katie's there to be the anchor of, like, I'm just a normal person.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and this whole, like, all this shit's going on around me.
She was supposed to be like the audience being like, oh, fuck, like, what's going on? But then she becomes ridiculous like the rest of the movie and it's kind of betrays what she's there to do in a way.
Exactly. But that's really the only nitpick of that entire film.
Yeah. No, it's to me, it's not quite S tier, but it's definitely A tier. It's definitely
A tier, yeah. I agree because... Yeah, there's no huge flaws. Like, I mean, I was kind of comparing it to Snake Eyes because it had that kind of, you know, the Fight Club thing that was just like, this was a lot more believable because they had, like, you know...
the Abomination from The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that character would have come back? And that's what I think that Marvel is now doing now, where they're just realizing that, you know, we have this world, let's just put characters in random spots and just, like, make it more like a full world. You know, we see Wong from the Doctor Strange movies fight Abomination. And it was like, that's a fun little bit to have because we know all of these characters now.
They're just mates as well. Like, after the fight, you see them just hanging out. It's like, nice. It's like, but yeah, that was, I mean, they did that, this Fight Club a lot better because it's a lot more believable. You know, the people were having fun and... like, they're just betting on each other. What the fuck? It was weird. But I feel like this film, especially from the, you know, the part where we meet Sean, it kind of really grabs your attention. Especially when, like, you know, this guy rocks up in the BMW who you think is Sean, because that's, like, you know, that's the cliche. But, of course, he's just a fucking valet.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's just living
it's
normal
like
grind.
They're, like, kind of referencing, like, Crazy Rich Asians, where it's like, oh, you assume, he's crazy rich.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, I mean, you did assume because his dad's lived for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Like, you accumulate a lot of money after living for that long. But yeah, no, that's what I thought.
I did like as well that Shang-Chi thinks that he ran away for 10 years, when in reality the Mandarin was like, I gave you 10 years.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
I chose to give you 10 years. You've done nothing with your fucking life. You're coming back with me.
That is true. And I did like that he's done nothing with his life. He just wanted to live a normal life. That's all he wanted.
Go out drinking and, you know, singing karaoke, and he just wanted to have fun.
Like, the story, you know, of how him and Katie met was he was getting bullied. And we know that, like, later on that
he could have fucking beat the shit out of them.
He would have killed them.
Yeah.
He would have honestly killed the bullies, and probably killed their families as well. But like he was like, no, I want a normal life. I want to, I want to live in this world, so I've got to be normal. And like that's why I mean the character of Katie is so good because she's like seeing all this shit that's so out of her league and being like, this is your life. Like, why aren't you living it? And she's kind of there to help Sean, I guess, through the fucking this fucking moral dilemma he has. But yeah, I mean, at the end, it's good. Like you see him with the rings, it's sick.
Yeah.
The ring, like the whole ring fights are insane. Like how, they kind of transfer from the Mandarin over to him and they change. And like you were saying, like he's more relaxed with them, like his mother. But yeah, I also wanted to say, how is his mother so powerful? That's never really explained. Like,
well, no, it's the maze place. Mm-hmm. It's so the dragon. We haven't really talked about the giant fucking dragon.
Yeah, that's true.
Is like I think it's like the source of like chi or whatever, like good energy, and like
chi.
all the people in that kind of village utilize that kind of good peaceful energy. And that's what his mother had, I think. That's kind of what's happening there. So then she's, through her power to, like, use chi or whatever, that's how she's able to take him on. But remember, she could only do that when she was in this village place.
That's true.
She couldn't do it outside of it. So I think it's like that village gave them that strength. And I think the dragon or the Great Protector,
yeah, that's right. Because all their weapons as well were like,
from the dragon or whatever, like the dragon scales and whatever else. Yeah.
It's very interesting. Like I like this other world.
Exactly. It's similar to Black Panther in that it builds out this whole side of the MCU that you had no fucking clue about. And they really deep dive in it and give you this whole new world. And it's great at world building. So I do like that. I like when the MCU is expanded in a way that feels organic, as opposed to Eternals where they're rewriting history. Like this felt really organic and just growth, and it felt new.
Fleshing out the entire universe. Eternals was more of, it was like, it kind of was just like a little eraser in the universe and be like, oh, and then writing in this, oh, this happened.
Yeah.
Guys, this happened, it's just.
So, is Shang-Chi officially the best movie of Phase 4 so far? So Black Widow, Eternals, or Shang-Chi?
Yeah, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I think so. Like,
I agree.
I think it's safe to say. I mean, I hate to say that Black Widow's part of Phase 4 because it really isn't.
That's so weird. That's the thing, is it should have come out like after Civil War and before Infinity War. That's when it's set. That just makes more sense. It doesn't feel like the start of something new. Whereas at least Shang-Chi and Eternals, they kind of feel like they're in a new direction somewhat.
Yeah. I would put it Shang-Chi, Black Widow, then Eternals.
Yeah, I agree.
The whole Black Widow's family was fucking awesome. I miss that. And I honestly might rewatch that movie just because like that whole...
Yeah, that dynamic is great too.
That's so good.
Marvel's killing their families right now.
Oh yeah, they're loving it. They're loving it. Everyone's very happy. It's good. But yeah.
There's also an end credit scene of Shang-Chi, but I've honestly got no clue what the fuck happened. So
I did remember it, but it was just like, no, I couldn't recognize any of the characters.
It was like you had the Hulk and you had Captain Marvel and Wong, and they were trying to explain that the bracelets, the 10 rings, were like, we've never seen energy like this before, and they're calling out to something, but then they never really explained.
I didn't see this end credit scene. I saw one, but it was...
Didn't you see the one with the Hulk, Captain Marvel, Wong?
Must have watched the wrong one.
Yeah, anyway.
Because there's multiple now.
There are multiple now, but again, I had no clue what actually happened, so it was a very vague tease as to what's to come, so I had no clue.
Like, oh.
Whereas at least Venom Let There Be Carnage's end credit scene, you kind of knew, okay, this is what they're going to do now.
Yeah, I did like it, to be honest. It's like, where am I? It's like, we know exactly where you are.
It's Tom Holland!
Oh, that was so... I mean, they honestly didn't need to show Tom Holland on the TV. They honestly could have just like hinted at it, or I mean, you saw like Doctor Strange's kind of
spell thingy coming
spell
around him.
thingy, the dust
But
or whatever.
also, sorry, we're now back on Venom. It doesn't make any sense though, because like the premise of Spider-Man: No Way Home is that all the characters related to Spider-Man are coming through. Now we know Venom is related to Spider-Man, but this version of Venom doesn't have any connection to a Spider-Man.
Yeah, because when Tom Hardy sees Tom Holland on the screen, he's like, Spider?
Yeah.
Wait, there are Spider-Men? Like Venom's like
that guy. I think he says that guy.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
What does that mean? Like, Venom or Eddie would be like, oh, this guy's a superhero. I'm just gonna do my thing. I'm gonna live somewhere else. Like there's no connection that Venom or Eddie has towards these characters at all.
It also is retarded because Venom is a Spider-Man villain.
Yes.
But this version of Venom is not villainous at all.
No.
So how are we supposed to expect that they're gonna fight? Like,
I don't know.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Tom Holland does need some help. He's got fucking way too many villains on him. Like,
Maybe Venom in No Way Home is a good guy.
Yeah, I hope so.
I don't even know. I actually don't even know if he's in the movie or not.
I honestly hope he is not, because I want more screen time from everyone else. That's why. I've seen enough of this man. He's got 2 movies.
Way more than he deserves.
Way more than he deserves. But yeah, we'll leave it at that. I think that maybe he should be hinted in the end credit scene of.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something like that.
Be like, oh my god, it's Tom Hardy.
Yeah, it's Venom.
But yeah.
Yes, so that has been our reviews of Venom: Let There Be Carnage and Shang-Chi. One is Venom. The other one is quite good. So
that is spectacular.
Yeah. Oh, Spectacular Spider-Man? Wow.
No,
you made a reference and you didn't even know it. That's all we have time for this week. Next week, oh boy, what are we going to do next week?
We'll be together, I think.
Oh, we could be together. In that case, we may catch up on, we may see, what's his name? Edgar Wright's new movie then.
Oh, yes.
We might see that.
Good. Mm-hmm.
We'll see. There's plenty of movies out that we still could talk about. The Green Knight. We could talk about Andrew Garfield had a new movie called Tick Tick Boom. We did watch Red Notice and we were going to review it, but then we decided not to. We could come back to that. What's Oscar Isaac has a movie called The Card Counter that's coming out. Plenty of stuff to talk about. We'll see. But big movies, right? There's big movies coming out.
Big moves.
And you're going to see some big reviews from us.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
So, thank you very much for watching. Catch us next week when we'll talk about a movie. We'll see. We'll see. We'll have a lot of fun together.
Just chill out. Relax.
Oh, and if you like this episode, please like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, all of them. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. If you're there.
You'll be there.
Or you'll be square.
Yeah.
See ya.
There.